So, welcome back. Welcome back to another one. In for Upper today. And the plan for today is not to go down the same path that I went down last video. I feel like I drifted away from myself, my authenticity. So I won't do that. I won't do that again. The plan here is today I have 20 odd sets. The plan is to execute them as well as any human being has ever executed 20 odd sets. I heard recently that someone saw something in me that, well, a bit simplified. What they said is that every victory in a set, every progression, and every regression or lack of progression means a lot to me. They can see it. I'm not quite sure that I concur, or that I agree. Or at least not I haven't in the past. For the longest time, I've always thought that because of how much I invest into this, or the time, or the effort, or the money, or the life that I abstain from living in this pursuit, me adding 1.5 kilos extra, 2.5 kilos to my stiff leg, every rotation, it's not something that I celebrate. It's what expected of me, especially given my the cards I've been dealt genetically. I've always thought that this is what's expected of me. To quote Mario Balotelli, that is, the mailman doesn't celebrate when he delivers your mail. That's just his job. And that's the way I felt about it for the longest time. But recently I've come to the, epiphany that I'm both closer to my goals than I have ever been, but I equally feel further away from my goals than I've ever felt. And that's been a wake-up call for me. And in realizing that, I've just wanted to close this gap as quick as humanly possible. And I feel that if you instill this reward system in your brain, that you celebrate a win and you take the losses as they come and just go for the next win, that mentality and that reward system will just be evident in everything that you do. And so that's what I've tried to do. And to draw an analogy, some of you have seen, what's it called? The Brotherhood of the Snow, or La Patria de la Nieve. It's about these Uruguayan rugby players that traveled from Uruguay to Chile, and they crashed in the Andes in 1972, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And they thought that they were going to be rescued. And they thought that, well, if we just sit here for a couple of days, a week, they come looking for us, they'll see us, and we'll be rescued. But as days went on, they realized that this was not the case. As weeks went on, they started eating each other. And they realized that our only shot is to get out of this ourselves. Most of them were, too injured to walk, too weak to walk, too famished to walk. But there were a couple that had the strength. And so they were equipped with the clothes they had, backpacks of human flesh. And they went out. They hiked for days on end, nights on end. And when they slept together, and they didn't know who would wake up and who would be forever dormant. And they set out for this mountain. It looked like the end of the mountains. And so they hiked the mountain. They came to the top, and they were going to look out over the valley, and they were going to be rescued. But they came to the top, and they saw that as far as the eye can see, only mountains. And that's what I felt. So the plan here is to get through. And so this coming time is just to surpass these mountains as quick as possible. And to do that, these are tools I use So as I said, I'm training upper. I don't have any time to waste, both in a macro sense, but also today. So I'll take what's there. I can. Strong. I can. Come on. Strong. I can. I will. Come on. Shoulder. Catch the big fucker. I can. Yo puedo. Muéstrame. Estoy contigo. Estoy contigo. Ya. Muéstrame. Ok. Proper fucking heavy this. This press, if you can press 2.5 plates aside on this for reps, you're proper strong. Not there yet. Yet. Estoy contigo, con. Fuck this. I can't. I can't. I fucking can't. Make it look like it's not a weight, bro. One thing I found about, hopefully didn't tell us. One thing I found about back training, specifically upper back training, is to not fall out of the groove as an intra-set basis. Because most of the things that we do that's upper back related, we have a big focus on supporting through the chest. And if you fuck up your breathing, if you lose your groove, if you become loose at the bottom, then your ability to output will be shit, entirely diminished. So don't lose your groove. Walking the paths of eccentric tempos and tempos in stretch can be a tricky one because some individuals just lose all of their ability to brace, whilst others can use it to brace more. They're able to inhale on the way down, fill the ribcage with air, and they become compact, even in that position. So the different things that can be optimal on paper, the pause and the stretch, but if that takes away from your ability to output, then it wasn't optimal, was it? So don't just lean on the science all the time, even though that has its place, very large place, but see to what actually happens on the gym floor. person the other day asked me about my training split, one of the comments on YouTube. And he asked in a way that wasn't not the way everyone else asked my training splits, which showed that he understood a bit more than most people. He asked me, because he knows I train push, pull, rest legs, upper, lower rests. He asked me something along the lines of what's the difference between a leg session and a lower session? Does it behave differently because of a rest day before and after? So that was kind of just the question. And to answer it, it as always comes down to needs analysis. And my biggest need really is quads and hamstrings. And when it comes to hamstrings, there's not a lot you can do, really. You could do 2 or 3, 4 sets of curls. You can do 1 or 2 sets of hinges. That's it, basically. Everything else above that just becomes almost redundant. Whereas with quads, you can experiment with the territory a bit more. So that's what we do. We push the volume a bit more on quads, and we don't want anything to be limiting me in any way going into those sessions. So that's where the rest day before and after. For the lower, I have 5 sets of quads that come after all of my hamstring work. So, 2 sets of leg extension and then 3 sets of leg press. And there, I mean, I don't need to drive up my hinge any more than it is. It's almost unproductive at this point. So I don't need to be fresh going into that. And I can place more of the load on my hamstrings rather than a systemic toll. So that's why it's placed there. And for that session, we only have, I think, 4 sets of hamstrings in total and 5 sets of quads. So in short, the lower session is more demanding on the posterior chain, and the leg session is more demanding on the anterior. And since I need to drive up the quads more and overall load, and that's why we have a little rest day before and after. Meanwhile, that's not as much of a necessity for my hamstrings, so that's why we don't have a rest day before and after.